Good evening to you and welcome to Wynberg St Johns for another in our series of interviews as part of the 12th Man series. My name's Jeremy Harris and certainly it's my privilege to be here and to be associated with this club and certainly some of the characters that make it up and that have taken it these last many years. 30 years young is Wynberg St Johns this year. It's a massive number. And we want to celebrate that with some of the stalwarts that have travelled with the club over that time. Talking to Steve Bailey, who joins us tonight. Steve, good to see you, good to talk to you.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Looking good, Nick. First team, second team?
Well, first team, always first team, mate.
Listen, what a story from you. Because, I mean, we've had many different guests, as you can imagine. But I mean, I don't know that they've come from as far away as you've come from. So talk to us about, where it started and how it is that you got here.
Yeah, Jeremy. Well, I originally from South London, from a place called Croydon. So I'm an ardent Crystal Palace fan. That's our local club there.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're not going to hold it against him.
I heard you were a Manchester United fan, so we need to, I think, cut this interview now. Cheers, guys. Thanks very much. Arrived in South Africa in 1995. My business partner in the UK was a South African, and we worked together for one of the airlines in sales and marketing. And she had this idea to set up a travel company selling South Africa to the rest of the world. Because obviously under apartheid, not many of the big players were selling South Africa. So I came here middle of 95. I'd never been here before. Came with her family were here. And I was here for a long weekend. And I was here and I arrived in this beautiful city. And we went up Table Mountain and I was looking around and I went out and about and I thought, sure, this place is, I've literally been here, let's just say less than 48 hours. And I thought this place is amazing. Yeah. This is the place where I want to be. Yeah. It just fell in love with Cape Town immediately. Then moved here later that year, August 95. So I came with 2 black bags and a fax machine under my arm and that was me. I didn't know anyone and moved here by myself. And we started up this travel business and yeah, of course it was very slow initially, very, very slow. We had some clients in the UK that would send some business, but very slow. Then one evening I saw an ad in the Cape Argus that this club, Wynberg St Johns, were looking for a first team coach. And from the UK, I played a bit in the UK. Unfortunately didn't make it on the professional ranks, but played a lot of semi-professional. I coached over there, I got my UEFA badges. So I thought to myself, why not? Let's apply for this job. So I applied for the job and I came here to this clubhouse and walked into this clubhouse. And actually at the time I had a friend of mine from the UK with me, Barry Watkins. So I said, you better come with me, you've got to give me some moral support here, mate. Yeah, so he came with me. And Barry sat over there in the chairs, he sat in the corner there and I said, look, do me a favour. This place was busy, people around. I said, be my eyes and ears, you find out who's who in the zoo here. And I went in and had my interview, which went very well. We left, and then on the way back, he would tell me, oh, there's this guy there and this one here, and yeah, you've got to be careful of this guy. Well, this guy's a good guy. Anyway, I got called back for a second interview, and then I got the job. So I became the first team coach. And at the time, the first team were playing in it was a first division, but it was the first division coastal. So we play against teams from Port Elizabeth, well, Cape Town, Port Elizabeth, and Durban. Yeah, that's how I arrived at the club. Quick story, my now mother-in-law sat on the committee at the time. No, sorry, there was no, so she was on the committee at the time. And I think, as I told you before we came on air, I think at this actual table I met my wife now of 21 years. I met her for the first time in this clubhouse. So yeah.
Oh, I love that story, it's a great one. Certainly a story that goes full circle. So I've never played under you, Steve. Never played under you, but I imagine you to be a very involved manager. I'm being polite.
No, never.
I imagine you to, if we're down 2-0 or 1-0 at half time, there's going to be words.
Yeah, only a few, yeah. Very, very quiet. I was a very, very quiet person, very unassuming. Sat there, kept myself to myself. No, all jokes aside, because people are going to watch this and say, hang on a second.
That's the wrong guy.
Hang on a second. No, I was very verbal. I got very involved, and that's me. That's part of my makeup. That's what I'm about. I'm a very passionate person. Want to win. Going back 25, 26 years ago, it was pretty much a win at all costs, and that's how it was. Now it gets, as you get older and you become more mature, it's a lot less, but you want to be competitive. So yeah. I was very verbal and active on the sideline.
So time I imagine that to be 100% true. Talk to us about what it was that you were working with, though. What was the state of football like? What was the talent pool that you had? What were the players like that you worked with?
Yeah, it was a real, unreal experience actually for me coming from the UK, and then we had the last game of the season before, and I'd been offered the position, and the guys were playing their last game here, so actually no one knew or whether. So I came and sat in the stand here by myself with a notepad, and I sat there and I was watching these guys play, working out again who this one was, who that one was,
sure.
Which ones I'm going to have trouble with, the Lindsay Georges, and
yeah.
you know, so
lots of trouble there.
Lots of trouble there. So that's what I'd done the last game of that season. Then came in the next season, and I had to meet the whole squad. So we actually sat in the bar at the back, and everyone was introduced to me, met them all, and got to know the guys. And then came the tough part that after a few training sessions, I had to cut that squad. So all of a sudden, we could only go with, let's just say, 20 odd players. And there'd been players who'd been playing at this club for quite a few years before. So that to me was probably the toughest time I had whilst I was at the club, that I had to make that cut and make those decisions. And then from there onwards, just the guys, the talent still is in South Africa. It's unbelievable. But back in those days, the talent of the standard of the football, the level of football was brilliant. It was fantastic. That first division we played in, I mean, it was intense, it was hard, but it was really, really good, top level, yeah.
Wow. And if you had to sort of fast forward to now, because I know you're talking, a couple of decades ago.
Yeah.
Fast forward to now, what are your thoughts in terms of the talent pool now and the state of play now?
I think that back in those days, football here, especially in Cape Town, it was a buzz, it was alive, it was, and that was not just at this club, but at all the clubs. And you go to football today, yes, probably the standards improved as it has globally, but there isn't that, what am I looking for that vibe, for that intenseness anymore. Football, people would live and die football. I mean, you'd come to this club, you'd train 3 nights a week, the place would be busy, there would be a buzz, there'd be a vibe. It doesn't happen today.
And then more's the pity.
Yeah, exactly.
More's the pity.
Yeah.
If you had to, and I know you've got many great stories, but so I mean, if you had to think about just some experiences other than proposing to your wife at this very table.
That's the most important one, by the way, because when she watches this, she's going to. Thanks, Jeremy.
But if you had to think about some other amazing experiences that for you, when you sit quietly somewhere else 20 years from now, and you think about that, you will go Wynberg St Johns. Yeah, lots of stories, and I mean the first one that will always stand out in my mind. We played our first game of the season. It was what year was it? It was '96 year, first game of the season. So we'd been training, and good training, intense. Got to know the guys. We came in for our first game here, first game at home. I can't remember who we played. So you give your team talk, you plan everything, team talk. Right, we're ready. We are ready. We're never going to be more ready than this. So 10 minutes before kick-off, and all of a sudden this drum comes into the dressing room, the gummy. So hang on a second, boys, what's going on here? You go, what's this drum doing here? We're ready to go and play now, So no, coach, please, this is one of our traditions here. So the drum starts, and you have every song has a beginning, every song has an ending. And when I hear that tune, that day in that dressing room, the way the guys sang, and bang the walls and bang the ceiling. It was probably an experience I will never, ever forget in my life. And if I go to football tournaments around the Cape and you hear, Wynberg St Johns are there, they're there because you hear this tune blaring out. I mean, it's phenomenal, and it finishes off with Falling in Love with You. So every time I hear that on the radio, I mean, I'm getting goosebumps now thinking about it. I get goosebumps. It's, unreal. And I said to the guys, I remember saying to the guys, boys, if you play half as well as you've sung, we'll win this game, no problem. Yeah,
so,
exactly. Yeah. Talk to us about some of the youngsters, maybe, because I mean the one thing about this club is the fact that there's a very popular youth tournament, and it's the one thing that sort of stands out in terms of one of the key offerings from Wynberg St Johns. Youngsters from all around the Cape, in fact, dare I say, from all around the country are going to be part of that one. I want to be in the mix, for that under 9, under 10 tournament. you're obviously more focused on the senior players, but I mean, having seen that tournament run its course, just maybe some of the observations from your side.
I mean, that I think, as has been said, I mean, that's probably the most popular youth tournament for that age group in, let's say, South Africa.
Yeah, exactly.
I know for definite it's in the Western Cape. And it's run very, very well. The kids actually come here. They look forward to it. I've actually brought my boys' team. He played at Meadow for a while. And we came and played here. And those kids for that week, because it goes on every night of the week, playing under the floodlights, they absolutely love it. And the nice thing here, which we'll come to now, I mean, there's so many of the ex-players involved in the running of that tournament, whether it be as a referee, whether it be as an administrator, or whether it be standing on the gate collecting money, all guys that I coached back in the day. You come here when they have the tournament, 90% of those guys are going to be here, which speaks volumes.
Yeah. And again, you know, one of the things that we've spoken to so many different people, so many different guests we've had as part of this series, all of them, as I was saying to previous guests, have got these things that stand out for them, these special moments. I mean, if you had to maybe pull out some of, not the moments, but some of those characters, some of those people that you have sat with and argued with, or have enjoyed a beer with, or who you've coached. Just maybe some names.
I've argued with everyone. Everyone in this bar. Everyone in this bar, and I think when we used to play matches, you couldn't get in this bar. It was packed. It was packed solid, and everyone wanted a piece of you. Everyone wanted to talk to you. Everyone wanted to tell you made a wrong substitution. Why did you do that? Yeah. Why did you do this?
Pick this player.
Why is he exactly that? But characters, or a lot of characters. But I think on the footballing side, probably the best player I've ever coached is a guy called Willie Bowers. Tolly was his nickname, but he could play. He could play, and if he wanted to, unfortunately, he was happy. He was happy being here. He was like the Messiah here. They loved him here.
But he could have ended up.
He could have gone overseas. Absolutely, no question. He could, if he wanted to, he could have gone overseas. And but you go through that team that we had here at that time. I mean, I can talk you through the team. The left back, Brian Veal, Bala. What a great player, amazing player. I mean, we played 7 stars twice one season. Benny was only young. Benny McCarthy was 16, 17, but he didn't get a kick. I mean, Bala had him in his pocket both games. Central defenders, Mark Hendries, Abdullah Karim, 2 big boys. We played a very English style. We got the ball forward early, 2 big centre halves. Because it's a tight pitch here, whenever we'd get a throw sort of going into their half, we'd have a guy, Dominic Fisher, had a long throw the ball in, our centre halves would go forward. Right back, Hannes Jacobs. Solid. Never lost a tackle. Clive Philander, what a player. I mean, played top level football here, played in the midfield. Lindsay George, we spoke about Lindsay. I mean, Lindsay would never lose a tackle. He'd run all day long with his long curly locks and his 2 big earrings, running around. Now he hasn't got any hair on his head. But and unfortunately we lost him. We lost him to Santos for a season or so, but you know what? He came back.
Yep.
He came back and played here. And I think that's what this club was about. It really was about the bonding. I know everyone says the camaraderie, the family, and I could say the same things, but it was about that bond that we had together as a unit. A group of guys, we'd socialise together. We'd go to a braai. If someone would have a braai on a Saturday, we'd go there. The whole team would go there. Probably to my detriment, I became a mate, I became a friend, I wasn't a coach. And that's what I think, I was one of their mates. So when they'd go out dueling, I'd have to go with them. And then if we played on a Friday night, we played a Friday night game at home, which was great, under the lights, the place was packed. So on a Saturday, they'd take me to this place called the Galaxy, the Gal. And I'd go to the matinee in the Gal at 3 o'clock, and I'd get to know everyone in the Gal. And then on Thursday nights after training, we'd come in here, we'd have a few beers, then we'd go to the pizza place down Wetton Road, and then we'd end up in another club, Images in Athlone. I mean, but that was the bond that we had as a group. Yeah. Which honestly was phenomenal. I'm still friends with many of those guys today. I mean, I've kept in touch with them and close with a few of them. But there was that real bond between us. Yeah.
I've got to say, I'm just listening to some of the places they've taken you to. They've obviously taken you on as family as well. I mean, there's the Galaxy, and images and that pizza place. I mean, wow. I love the stories. Steve, so the final sort of end to our chat is, and I mean, you've touched on it, but I want to just bring it out a bit more, is the family aspect to this club. I mean, everybody has spoken about it, everybody touches on it in different ways, but the fact is that there seems to be this glue. There seems to be this magnet, because I mean, you were talking about how Lindsay George came back. And you know, I'm using him as one example, but there seems to be something about Wynberg St Johns that has stickability. You know, where you can't really walk away from it.
No, you can't. And it's one of those things, you're never ever, once you've been here, you're never ever gonna forget this place. You're never gonna forget it. As long as I live, I'll never forget this club. And that whole family vibe that it has, it still happens. I mean, a lot of the guys now, their kids play here. You know, you get introduced to someone and, oh, he's his kid, this one's kid, that one's kid. And when we played, you got to know their families, everyone's family. Mothers, fathers, wives, girlfriends, children. You've got to know all those people. And again, when we'd have a function here, everyone would come. Everyone would be here. And yeah, it was phenomenal, really good. And I hope that was able to continue with the club. I know, you know, clubs go up and down, and these things, but I think, and I do believe with a club of this stature and with that, how it's been, that can continue for the next so many years.
Well, I mean, I suppose the observation is that there's no such thing as a perfect football club.
No.
There's a football club, and there are those that will last for 30 years, and there are those that won't. And so you will have your, as you say, you'll have your ups and downs. But there's obviously something about the magic of Wynberg St Johns. Yeah,
most definitely. Most definitely there's a magic here. There really is. And I mean, we could talk all evening. I mean, there's 101 different stories I could tell you about this place. And it'll be, as I said to you earlier, it'll be memories that will never ever leave me as long as I live. Seriously, and it's really very, very fond memories. A few dodgy ones, mind you.
Okay.
I won't mention those. but lots and lots of fond memories. And I think people you said the word magnet, and it's something I was going to use. It's like a magnet. It pulls people back the whole time. People are always going to come back here. So yeah, and that's what you want to achieve. Surely that's what you want to achieve when you have a club. If you can do that, you've done it.
Absolutely.
You really have, yeah.
Talking to Steve Bailey tonight, of course, we're talking about the magic, we're talking about the magnet, we're talking about the stickability of Wynberg St Johns as part of our 12th Man series. Steve, thanks very much for your time.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thanks for not telling us all of the stories, but we certainly look forward to bringing you our next story again soon.